Hi, I'm Kenny Johnson, and you're watching The Red Booth.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. Welcome to The Red Booth Show. On tonight's episode, I have the amazing actor Kenny Johnson. You might recognize him from Sons of Anarchy, The Bates Motel, or The Shield, and many more. He gives us some really great insight into being in this business. Plus, we have a few words from some of the cast of the new movie Through the Looking Glass. So come and join us. Hey guys, so here we are with Kenny Johnson. How is it going?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Just came from Disneyland? You look... Have a magical day. I love your outfit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They actually do have pinup at the park. It's Disneyland's day where they have all these girls in pinup.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. So you did come from there? Or
no, I didn't, but
okay.
I'm just, you could go there. And
I was just there like 2-3 days ago.
Were you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have the seasonal pass, so I play at least once a month, or I try to.
Nice.
For my daughter, yeah.
That's very cool. Your daughter's so cute, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yes, she's here with us on set. I just thought I would let you know she's probably going to be joining us on the show here.
Yeah, she's a very cool little girl. Awesome.
Well, I cannot believe all the stuff that you've been up to. You were in Sons of Anarchy, you're in Bates Motel, you were in The Shield. I mean, that's just some of the stuff that you have been doing, so.
Yeah, over the last 17 years, yeah. But for a large portion of it.
Oh, come on, Sons of Anarchy wasn't that long ago.
No, I'm saying from 17 years ago until about now, I'm saying. But yeah, no, that SOA just finished last year. But for me, it finished 2011, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
If you're into motorcycles, which I am.
I am.
Okay.
Okay.
It was pretty dope.
See, we have Harley.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Okay, there's another
this.
Harley
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all my favorite actors too. And Elvis.
Yes.
Which that's a whole other thing. You gotta have Elvis.
Yep.
It was awesome. Getting to ride bikes, get paid. Play biker gang was really cool. Everybody on the set, like Charlie, Ron, Tommy, all the guys all the way down were super open and really awesome guys. And they're all have careers that are pretty amazing anyway. So to get to go in and play with a creator who actually was one of the executive producers and writers on The Shield the whole time I was there.
Oh, wow.
So I was familiar with his writing, and it's edgy, it's gritty, it's good, it's real, and boys being boys, so it was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you first get your first part on Sons of Anarchy, just as an example?
Okay, for SOA, I was doing Saving Grace with Holly Hunter for 4 years, and they had just announced that it was going to be canceled. And the day that it hit the papers, I got a call from Sutter, Kurt, and he said, "How'd you like to come play with the big boys?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, I said, "Hell yeah." I'm like, of course. And so he said, "Let me intro you at the very end of season 2, and then I'll have you come in for 3, and we'll just go from there, do season 3 and 4." And that's kind of how that came about.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you have to audition, or did they just call it no?
No. I mean,
they're like, "No, I don't need to audition."
No, it's not true. No, I mean, a lot of times they'll make you, but with Bates, I didn't have to, and with SOA, I didn't have to. So I was like,
that's cool.
Yeah, really fortunate with that. And years earlier, I think before I got Saving Grace, Kurt had met with me towards the end of the Shield run and said, "Listen, I got this thing coming up about motorcycles, and I think you'd be great for one of the roles in it." So he talked to me about it, but I had been cast with Holly on Saving Grace, so I was in I think the first or second season when that started. So
you couldn't do it then?
I couldn't do it. And
yeah.
But he somehow worked me in, graciously. So it worked out perfect.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What was it like as your character? How would you describe the feelings that sort of motivated your character on that show?
Well, he was a sergeant in arms in Tacoma, so he's kind of the muscle of the guys that kind of keep people in check. And, it's where Tig came from also, and so these guys knew each other. So for me to basically want to join up with their club, I needed to get patched in. And obviously, Tig didn't want me getting patched in because of a beef that we had years earlier. So my whole thing is like, I had to take a step down just to be patched in, and then not getting patched in because Tig's got an issue and he's the only one. It was kind of fun. I mean, that fueled a lot of tension between me and Kim Coates, who played Tig, and it was fun. It was like a love-hate relationship, and we have that in real life too. He's a Canadian, which is cool. And he's just a funny guy. He's a funny guy. So he's a great actor, and at the same time, there's things about him that personally, make me feel certain things. So I got to play on that a lot, and it kind of came off on screen, I think, pretty cool. So.
That's cool. Yeah. So it sort of tapped into something that was
kind of very real. Yeah, it was a little too real. Yeah, for sure.
I actually had an old friend that was in Sons of Anarchy in the first season.
Right.
Who ended up passing.
Johnny Lewis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The young one.
Yeah. He was in actually season 2 also, because
You were in some scenes with him, weren't you?
Yeah. He's a good. I mean, he's a good guy. That was very unfortunate, the whole thing.
Yeah, it was really, really sad, but...
sorry about that.
I'm just glad that he ended up doing what he loved, because he was trying to do that forever.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, well...
I'm not touching any of that.
That's a tough one.
No, I know. It's just like...
No.
This thing's tragic all the way around.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, for everyone.
Well, yeah, what do you say?
Go somewhere else.
Tough. Real deal. Anyway, so then Bates Motel.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about working on Bates Motel.
Bates Motel is obviously, based on Psycho, and they gave Carrie and the creator, Carrie Aaron, and Carlton Cuse the rights to basically do anything as a prequel to it. So, when I first heard that they were making it, you think like, they're going to try to make a TV series based on this. And I heard Vera was on it and Freddie was on it. And the concept or the idea threw me a little bit. So I didn't see the first episode. And then a friend of mine who was VP of William Morris at the literary department said, Kenny, you should really check this out because I think it's your type of thing. And I'm like, yeah, but it sounds, he says, just give it one try. If you don't like it, don't watch it. So I watched that first episode, the pilot, and I was like blown away. I mean, blown away. And I was like, every week it was like, you're on crack. Every week I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next week to come. And I don't watch that much TV, so that was my show I was addicted to.
That's a good sign.
It's a good sign. And then when I tell people this, they're like, no, that couldn't be the show that you watch. But I watched it every week, and that was like one of the only shows that I watched. And I kept thinking like, how can I be on that show? I go, I would love, this is like my thing. I go, this writing is genius. I go, Freddie's genius, Vera, all these characters. The guy playing Dylan, I'm like, I love him because he seemed very James Deanish, like kind of mystery. He was always on the outside, and it just felt familiar to me, personally, and kind of where I came from. So
we actually have to take a quick break, but I want to continue hearing the story, and I'm sure you do too. So come on back, and we'll see you on the Red Booth Show.
I really wanted to put a deck on my house.
The floor was creaking, and there were cracks in the wall.
I had them put in walls in my basement.
Well, the whole thing was done on time, on budget, and not a day of work was missed.
Alpha Structural is a top-rate company. I'd recommend them to anybody.
If you live in a hillside home and gravity is pulling you towards the edge of the cliff, I recommend you call Alpha.
It was a real pleasure to work with Alpha.
And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. I'm here with the actor Kenny Johnson, and you were telling me this awesome story about Bates Motel.
Bates, how I got into the show. The Dylan character was, like intriguing to me, and so I was trying to think, how could I fit onto the show? And I thought she's already had like the good-looking sheriff who ended up getting off, and or I should say, I think it was the cop. And I didn't really want to play.
Somebody died on the Bates Motel show?
Yeah, exactly. I know, like everybody was dying, So, and I'm like, I don't want really to play a boyfriend, and I'm like, how could I fit in? I thought, what if she had a brother? And I'm like, nah, like the movie didn't have a brother, so why would they have a brother? I'm like, nah, there can't be. But I thought, that would be like the only thing I could think of that would fit in where I could actually be on that show. It was like this show in my mind. I'm like, I want to
Right.
be on this show.
Because you think of the original movie so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't have that. And that's why I thought, well, that's never going to happen. And then at the end, the very last episode, they say how she was, raped by her brother. And so you're thinking, oh, this is like really trippy. And it still didn't hit me. And then I got a call from this girl that was working that season, or kind of like a consulting supervisor, Alex Cunningham, and she's one of Carrie's friends. She had created Prime Suspect that I did with Maria Bello. So she wrote this character, kind of not on me, but she said, I wrote him with you in mind, and I think you could play this better than anyone, but it's not really my decision. It would really be Carlton and Carrie's, but I'm going to write it, and then I'm going to pitch you to them. And so she wrote it, and then she pitched it, and then I got a call like 3 days later saying, we want you to come on the show to play, Caleb, Norma's brother. And I'm like, like she didn't see, but I was jumping up and down.
So
going,
excited.
And I'm all like,
that's
really?
Like your favorite
okay. And I'm
show.
like,
yeah.
no, yeah. And I said, dude, I love your show. I go, I swear, I watch it religiously. And I said, what are you going to do? She goes, here's what we have in mind. You're going to be, the audience is going to find out that you're Dylan's dad, and that you and I was just like, oh my God. And I was, again, jumping up and down. But then when I started thinking about it, I'm like,
you're like the rapey brother.
That's kind of like a whole how do you get out of kind of thing.
How can people like your character after that, right?
It's
like kind of a difficult situation.
You start from the bottom, and it's like, not really that. It's not about redeeming him, but I mean, you're right. How do you get anybody to be on his side at all, And I'm like, just humanize the guy, do your own background. No one knows, and no one knows our background. So create my own thing and justify it. And I go, if it works for me, and it could have been that this has been going on for years, that she and I, mutually, were doing whatever we did. It was our survival way. And I kind of came from that place, and I pitched it out to Carrie also and said, this is where I believe they came from, and this is why they are, why they are where they are, and who, and why what happened. And that's just, for me, I needed to make it work. Otherwise, But Freddie Highmore is like insanely talented, nicest kid in the world. Vera, the nicest girl in the world, the same thing. She's like so talented. And Max and Nestor and Olivia Cook. And again, they're like the sweetest people as human beings that you could imagine. But when they say, action, there's other dimensions and places that they go to that are pretty mind-boggling.
Well, that's what it takes. I mean, being a good actor is, being able to tap into all that stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of preparation work and trust, So it's an amazing show to be on, for sure.
Wow. So how did you first start getting into acting?
It was really by accident. When I was like 22, a friend came to me with a script, and he had written it for himself and me. And, I was in, I'm from Vermont and Connecticut, and I went to college, and then dropped out after 3.5 years because I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. Got in a bunch of trouble in Boston, and I'm like, okay, I just need to go somewhere and just figure out what I want to do with my life. So I kind of flew to California without knowing anyone, had $500 to my name, and just started off here. And I met a guy that worked at Jack LaLanne's, which is a workout place, and he was friends with Stallone. And he had written a script and brought it to me and said, I want you to play this lead opposite of me. And I'm like, nah, it's okay, man. He goes, what do you mean? He says, I wrote this for you. I said, I'm not an actor. I go, find somebody else. He goes, but I wrote it for you and me. I said, I don't want to do it. And he kept bugging me, and probably about 3 weeks went by, and I finally said, okay, look, if you can get somebody to help me memorize these lines, I'll give it a try. And I'm severely dyslexic, so to me, to try to learn this stuff was hard, so I had to have somebody say it out loud to me. And so, this is how I got hooked, is before our first scene, I was standing there, and everything was happening around us, and I'm just sort of observing it and watching people, and it was almost like I was quiet in my own world, and everyone's running around, watching the camera guys, the sound guys, and all the actors, and then, it gets closer to, I hear them roll sound, and I'm still just observing as if I wasn't even there. And as soon as they said action, everything, like, for me, froze. Everything froze around me, like literally everyone froze. And this thing just like whooshed through me, and this voice said, "This is what you're gonna do the rest of your life." And it was like the clearest, most, like voice from wherever that just went through me, and I was just like, "Huh?" Like what the heck was that? And then all of a sudden, everything started happening, and we went on and did the scene, and obviously shot the film, and it won a bunch of awards. But that seed got put in me where I'm like, all right, I need to learn about acting. So then I seeked out the best acting teachers in the country and I did 3 films in a row, and then I stopped and I said, I just want to learn about acting because I don't know what I'm doing. So I spent 4 years with this guy, Larry Moss, and just did as much as I could to learn. And then I traveled the world, and then something hit me when I was in the woods in Riga, Latvia, or on the outsides of Riga.
Can we take a quick break and you can tell me the story?
Yeah, no, go.
Okay, good. We're going to go to commercial, but come right back to the Red Booth Show with Kenny Johnson. And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. We're here with Kenny Johnson, and you were telling us the story about being in Riga, Latvia?
Yeah, I was in the forest outside of Riga, Latvia, which is the capital of Latvia, and I had another one of those moments where something froze me, and it said, "It's time, go back to LA right now. You're supposed to start working now as an actor." So I'm like, huh, okay. So I hit Sweden on the way back because that's where my dad's from, and my mom's from Riga. Originally, that's where they were born. So
Was that why you were out there?
yeah, it is. It was the first time they reclaimed their independence after like 50 years from Russian occupancy, and she had to leave the country when she was a child because that's a long story. But yeah. But anyways, I came back, and within a short period of time, probably 3 or 4 months, I booked my first series. I did Blade, the movie Blade, and then I booked a series called Pensacola about fighter pilot F-18 fighter pilots.
Cool.
And
That'd be fun.
It was awesome. I got to fly in an F-18 dual cockpit.
Nice.
Got to go on the USS Constellation for 2 weeks and shoot there and watch all the guys do their live quals, and
Wow.
And then got catapulted off there to come back.
I did my partial pilot training,
Did you?
by the way, yeah.
Where at?
At Van Nuys Airport.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Nice rocks.
Yes, they have all the little small planes, and yeah, private pilots, pretty fun.
Exactly.
But it's
All
nowhere
the
near
Lear
going
jets.
and doing the Air Force.
F-18.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Marine fighter pilots. It was good. It was awesome. So
Cool.
I did go from there to doing a movie called Going Back about Vietnam, and then did a series, Ryan Caulfield, year 1 for Fox, that went for like 8 episodes, and then right after that got dropped, and The Shield came, and
It sounds like you had a pretty good agent. Is that like a part of this whole thing, or is this like?
I don't know. I mean, I always believe in things manifesting when you put them out there, and when it's time, and you feel like something inside says it's time, you prepare as if you're going to do something. And I usually choose something, and I work really hard at that specific character and put it out there as if, even though nothing's out there. And then within a short period of time, I'll have an audition for something that's almost exactly that.
That's amazing.
And that's how, like, The Shield for me, I was walking around Park La Brea, and I remember it was the middle of the night, I'm looking at the stars, and this thing hits me and says, "You're gonna get cast in something with Deborah Quilla." And I'm like going, huh, okay, she's a movie casting lady that did Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile. I'm like, for what I'm doing now, how am I gonna be cast for what? And then about, I don't know, 3 weeks later, I'm sitting at home and I start writing this thing down. It says, "Good cop, bad cop, unknown network, cable. It's gonna be ensemble, small role, series regular, and it's gonna win a bunch of awards and kind of change the face of TV." And I just wrote it, and I don't know why. And I'm like going, okay. And I just kind of kept it on this desk that I worked in this room. And then about 3 months go by, and they say, this thing called The Barn is coming, which was about good cop, bad cop, which ended up being The Shield. And who casted it? Deborah Quilla. And so that whole thing came around, and it was on FX, which had nothing. It was on a known network, which kind of changed the face of TV and what was acceptable, and brought a lot of movie people onto cable.
That's amazing.
So it's pretty.
And for FX, I mean, that was a big show for FX.
It was their first. Yeah, their first. They had Son of the Beach, which was like, a spoof on Baywatch.
Yeah.
That was all they had. They had nothing. So
Yeah.
this was their first baby, and it kind of all took off. They did Nip Tuck along with it, and then Lucky, and then Rescue Me, and then it just, catapulted into what it is today, which is a genius network,
Definitely.
Yeah.
How exciting to be a part of all of that, and the fact that you sort of manifested, I guess, what it is that you wanted to have happen.
I mean, look, I believe that I've always been one of those guys that, 100 people can say you're horrible, you're wrong, you suck, you're no good, and it doesn't bother me, because I think those people aren't really in charge of what happens in life or how life kind of works. And I always
Amen
believe,
to that.
that's true.
Yeah.
I always think something else has the ultimate, destiny, and I always think things can manifest. And I'm always like, when they said, you suck, you're no good, you're never going to be an actor, I would think, okay, somewhere I could see these, like, souls kind of being born, and I just kind of visualize and I go, at one point they all connect, and I go, that will be your time. And it might not be now, but it could be in 4 years, 3 years, it could be in 10 years, I don't know, but I believe it will happen. And so as long as I hung on to that, I didn't care what anyone said, because I go, my time will come. I'm just gonna keep learning about life and people, and know that I just want to be ready when it's here, because it's not about that one time. It's about then what do you have to give back in this lifetime? For me, that's,
That's cool.
if that makes any sense.
It makes
We're
total.
going on a, does
No,
it?
I could totally relate. I know I probably just seem like I'm just sitting here just like glossy-eyed, but I totally feel that way. I feel that way myself personally, so I can identify with that. It actually gives me hope, and like kind of goes, you can't listen to any of that stuff, and when you know that it's going to happen for you, you already know, and there's nothing anybody can say.
Sure. Yeah.
So
little seeds, all it takes is one little seed to be planted in you. And I remember talking to Michael Chiklis, and he had the same thing. He says, there was just something in me that knew, it didn't matter what anyone said, that I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? That I'm supposed to. This is like my destiny, that I'm supposed to. And it happened, and he's never doubted it. I'm like the same way. There's nothing that comes into me that throws me off and makes me doubt that this is my path, ever since that one experience happened,
Wow.
I had a lot of things prior to that to happen, that not about acting, but that let me know that there's something else kind of, at work out there too, and it just sort of reinforced, that belief system for me.
That's really cool. Well, on that note, we have to take another quick break, but we'll be right back with the amazing Kenny Johnson.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. We are here with Kenny Johnson. How's it going?
Good, Kimberly.
So you have some really great things coming up as well. I would love to tell the audience about that.
Secrets and Lies is coming out this fall with Juliette Lewis and Michael Ealy.
Love Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
What's up?
It's awesome. It's going to be good. So that comes out on ABC. And then this movie Solace I did with Anthony Hopkins and Colin Farrell, which is the sequel to the movie Seven, but 15 years later.
That sounds really creepy.
Comes out in September. No, it's a really cool movie. I know, exactly.
What's in the box? No, I don't know anyways, we'll see what happens on this one.
Yay. And then Bates is going to come out for a season 5 now that
Nice.
they finished 4, and that will be their final season, and then I just did this thing called. I know, right? Or will it? No, I think it will. I mean, it's supposed to.
We'll
but,
see.
I did a film that I just finished called No Stranger Pilgrims, which is a kind of apocalyptic, movie about karma in the slight future. And my daughter, who's done a bunch of musicals, and she just turned 7, and she had her first speaking role in there, so she got to do a little bit with the lead kid that played opposite of me.
We actually have her here, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have her come on over and say hello.
Angelica
Come on,
Scarlett
Angelica.
Johnson, that we call Jelly.
Hi.
Come here, Jelly.
How are you?
Good.
How are you, baby?
So you were in a movie with your dad?
Yep,
That must have been so much fun.
it was.
That's awesome. What did you have to do in the movie?
I had to say a line, and the line was "Hi, Ollie."
Okay, cool.
To the lead kid, what were you doing? You were turning a
I was.
bird cage around that had a skeleton dangling from it,
Whoa, that sounds scary.
because we shot it in Slab City. No,
It wasn't
she
scary?
she loves
it was
things
fun,
like that.
huh? And also you've done some like theater and performing, things like that?
Little Red Riding Hood. She did Into the Woods. Her first. She same
And I
thing.
also did Annie,
Annie.
Wow.
Who were you, Miss?
Miss Hannigan,
She killed it.
Really? That's really cool.
and right now I'm working on Willy Wonka.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story. Well, I'm excited for
Wonka's
you.
awesome.
Yes.
And Freddie Highmore played Charlie, which is awesome, and she knows Freddie, so it was all kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, he plays Norman. Remember, Freddie plays Charlie in
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people I think are gonna love your new series,
Thank
the
you.
movies that's coming out,
Thank
this
you.
new sequel to 7.
Which
that's
is
right.
called Solace. Yeah.
Solace.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's so fun having you on the
Thank
show.
you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
for
for
having
being
me.
here.
You're wonderful.
Thanks for watching Kenny Johnson on
The Red Booth.
The Hatter and his the biggest heartbreak in his life was brought up in the first film, and which is his family, and to go through this film, go through that emotional unpleasantness of, which is all too necessary to find the truth, was it's even though Alice is there to push him on and support him, he it's certainly, I don't think it would have been anything he would have done himself.
I'm very easy to anger, as my head's so big. I think Lewis Carroll said that he just saw this character as just this whole ball of rage and fury, and I get angry very, very easily, and that is indeed my whole problem, and that's why initially what you get in this one is that you get flashbacks as to, for instance, why my head has got so big.
Hi. Giving a shout out to Sherry at.
Thanks, Sherry.
Hi, Sherry at Jelly Magazine and Dark Water Productions.
That's right, the reluctant actor that became a huge actor.
Whatever, man.
It's true.
Hi, Sherry. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.